Hi, I'm Tom Hakeem, and welcome to this version of Meet the Candidates, your opportunity to learn a little bit about the people that want to or already are representing us in this township, and credit to them for the job that they're hoping to do. My guest this morning is my special friend, Mr. Shanna King. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great, great. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. I'm really appreciative of this moment.
So you're running for trustee in the
Yes.
township, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. But before we do, tell us a little bit about you and your family, et cetera, so we get to know you.
Absolutely. So, born and raised in Mount Clemens, Michigan. Been a Macomb County guy just about my whole life. Had a small stint where I moved out to Connecticut for business and work. So my wife and daughter went out there and worked out there for about 3.5 years, and then moved back, then settled back into Clinton Township here. And I'm really blessed. I've got a fantastic wife, a great daughter, and she's in high school, and we're just really love our community, and I'm just blessed to have a great family and great friends too.
So you said you moved out to Connecticut. I'm from the East Coast originally, and it's different. It's different. And this here, I think people a little more grounded, sometimes a little more friendly. They talk about these, but there's as a trustee and the position of trustee, it requires certain things that make it work better. I was looking at your background. Tell us a little bit about your background, and you're pretty involved in the community right now.
Absolutely. I am currently sit on the Chippewa Valley School Board and had that opportunity here the last couple of years, so I've been blessed there. President of the Housing Commission here in Clinton Township, secretary of our zoning board, and then active with our Goodfellows of Clinton Township as well. So it's really important to me, as we all do in life. I've had some individuals pass away in my life who I think unfortunately didn't leave the legacy that they would have liked, and didn't make the impact around the individuals, that whether it be family and their community, that they would have liked. And so that being said, seeing that happen, it's been important to me. It's actually motivated me and instilled in me a motivation to be able to leave a legacy for my family, leave a legacy for my daughter, impact my community in a strong way that's meaningful, and really leave it better in a better place than I found it. And so that's extremely important to me. It's personal. It's not an accolade. It's not a notch on my belt, so to speak. Something I can put on my resume. It's much more as it's meaningful to me to make a strong impact in our community in a positive way. Particularly right now, it's very polarized. We in this social political landscape that we live in, and really want to be in a situation where I hopefully can bring individuals together, bring our community together for the greater good.
That's always been a question. I'm glad you brought that up. That's always been a question, especially in an environment like our board here, and I guess anywhere you go. I totally agree that society's in a funny place, and trying to heal where we're at, and the divisions that have happened through the years. It's just something that's happened. It's everywhere. But locally, people look at the board, and you're all individuals. Everybody has their own idea. There's sometimes what they like to call a little infighting, but I've never seen anybody come out with a black eye yet. Probably in the near future, if any. How do you see yourself as somebody that can, cross the aisle, as to say, or get the political thing always seems to be party driven. We believe it's red. We believe it's blue.
Sure.
I'm not going to agree with you because my other buddies from the blue side, they don't agree with you. So what do we do? And we have a great board, and we have for the many, many years I've been here. But that's the one thing I think the community always tends to see less. They see less of all the good things that happen because those are emphasized.
Sure. Sure. I think where it really starts, to be honest with you, for me, is communication. It's really about us as a township, as a board, and as a group trying to do things a little bit differently around communication. I know our board meetings are very important. We do a good job of putting things out on social media and the internet and things of that nature, but we've got to do, I think, a stronger job and a more of an innovative job of having town halls really going out and canvassing our communities. I know we go out to knock on doors for votes. We need to be going out and knocking on our doors to speak to our residents and really talk to them about what's important to them. And then that becomes the forefront. It becomes less about right or left or somewhere in between, but it becomes really about what's about our community, what's about our residents that's important to them. That's what's going to be the forefront when we go out and we're trying to be innovative in our communication and trying to do things that's strength and getting feedback, whether it be surveys, whether it be some of these different things that we can try to do. That's a different and fresh perspective to our leadership right now that I think sometimes clouds that right and left. You see that some of these party lines forming. Because when we're really talking about our community's needs, all that stuff melts away. Yeah. All those differences melt away.
That's true.
We're more alike than we are separate. And so when we start really thinking about, hey, what's important to us about how do we, 95% of Clinton Township for the most part is developed. What's our plan strategically to develop that? That's important to everyone. People, when I've gone out knocking on doors, I've heard that we need more parks. We need to have our parks be better, with more resources and services. I've heard a number of different things around folks in our community don't feel like they matter. They don't feel like their word counts. Everybody in this community, no matter from the north to the south, the east to west, everybody inside of it should matter. They should feel like what they're saying counts. We've got to do a better job, I believe, of zeroing in on those topics. Let that drive what drives our conversation at these board meetings and our agenda. And then once that becomes our full source of agenda items, then all those other things melt away.
Sometimes it's a little difficult because I know myself, like everybody else in the township, my concerns are my concerns. Sure. My concerns are my street. My concerns are the weather. My concerns are what affects me. And if I'm a pretty good guy, it affects my neighbors. I don't think that we over worry about what's happening in the other areas of the township. And I think that's possibly because we don't know.
Sure.
And I think as people come to the board with their concerns that are very localized, I always feel that the board at that point needs to be a little more open to, okay, if it's one neighborhood or one street, we need to be serious about it. And it obviously can't fix everything, but can make a good effort. The township's an excellent township. We have a lot going on, a lot of positive things. Mm-hmm. And there's things that can be improved. If elected, what are a couple things you'd like to see improved upon, more recent, now? And so everything will work through its time with somebody on the board, but now, what should we be doing to maybe help things out now?
Sure, absolutely. Great question. So I touched on it a little bit earlier, but, again, Clinton Township, a lot of it, what we have already is developed. How do we figure out a way to utilize our resources here that we have, our land that we have here? How do we find ways to use it innovatively? How do we, bring in affordable housing, for our community? How do we bring more additional, businesses in? So I think it's really important for us to really have a strong strategic plan when it starts to come towards business, development, when it starts talking about community development. And so that incorporates our parks, that incorporates our business, and really having an overarching theme. And how does that work and how we implement that, whether it be phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, and what does that look like? So I think that it's important for us to bring a economic development, developer. I know we have a planning director right now. I don't necessarily believe that gives us the full breadth of what we could be doing as a township and bringing different diversified types of businesses here to our township. When it starts talking about how do we weave and we really put that that together as far as a strategic plan, as far as bringing in business that really matches our socioeconomic breakdowns that we have here within the community. We have some great school districts, Chippewa being one of them. We have a number of great school districts within Clinton Township, graduates coming out each year. A number of those schools are putting out, candidates who are interested in vocational aspects, looking for work, looking to plant roots here in Clinton Township. And unfortunately, in some instances, they're having to go away. And then when they go away, they don't always come back. We need to have a plan that really kind of says, how are we going to create that in? I think an economic developer would be extremely important to that. I think we also need to really sit down and rework how we communicate with our residents. I touched on that previously. We've got to be innovative. There's a number of different topics that come up. Facebook happens to be the area where most of the information gets spread, and then people start spouting off different things. And I don't think that's effective. We really need to find a way, whether it be through town halls, through canvassing, through surveys. We need to be out there receiving information, and then again letting that drive some of our strategy and letting that be woven in to what's happening within our township. And then lastly, I think that we really strongly, I'm hearing as I go out, and I think we all feel it here locally or nationally, we all feel somewhat marginalized, right? We don't feel like we matter for different reasons. We have to really find a way to let our residents have a greater pull into what's going on here within our budgeting and within our projects. So I want us to really start looking at as a township, participatory budgeting, where we, every budget, we obviously have to keep the lights on, we have to pay our employees, we have to do benefits, we have to do those certain fundamental things. Within every budget, there's room, there's area for different projects, different things that have to, need to happen or up for, capital projects within the township. How do we let more individuals weigh into what's happening there so that everyone feels like they have a vote? Everybody's weighing in on the things that are important. How do we strategically weave that in so that way, everyone feels like they're being represented and being heard? You brought up a really good point about feeling, hey, you care about some of the things locally, but you don't necessarily know about what's happening throughout the township. If you knew about some of those things, you probably would weigh in on those things. Being a good person, being a good neighbor, that's just natural. That's all of us. That's not just you. That's not just me, that's not just it's everywhere. So how do we really sit down and be able to spread that through? I think participatory budgeting, I think a solid communication plan, and I think an economic developer coming in, or director, if you would, coming in, that role is purposeful to be able to help move us forward and really build a strong Clinton Township moving forward.
The idea of bringing in business has always been a topic. Small business built this country.
Sure.
And it seems that we're blessed. We have the Walmarts and the Costco's and the Amazon, and the little guys have suffered because of that, and we've all benefited from it. But you always want small business. We have a great small business base in this township. We have to maintain a little better. When you talk about and this topic came up, it's in the community. They speak about it more than obviously people here, but when you're in the community, you hear about it all the time.
Sure.
We had the two referendums on marijuana business in the township, voted both down. People on both sides, they believe it, they don't believe in it. You can go to Mount Clemens, you can go down Groesbeck, there's going to be 10 stores. But people take the economic approach and say, well, look at all the tax dollars that we're not getting because of it. Well, I personally feel that people like myself get to vote on it, and if we want it, we want it. If it passes, it passes. That's the rules. What's your personal take on that?
My personal take, twofold. One, I'm not a fan. That's not something I personally indulge in. I have different philosophies as to why I don't think that's the route or direction for us as a person or as a community. But really, this really goes back to that communication. Like you mentioned, our community voted several times, and their voice spoke. We have to listen to that, and we have to be representative of that, and let their will be done. And I think that's what's really important here, is that it can't be my agenda, can't be someone else's agenda who's for or against, or my agenda for or against. It's not my agenda, it's our agenda, and our people spoke. So we have to take that into account again, with continued canvassing, communication, town halls, really understanding survey, really understanding where our people come from that are on that stance, then we can have a better, more educated, movement on that as we move forward as a township. But I think it's pretty clear here that that's not something that's wanted here in Clinton Township based upon, the results.
You made a good point. Near and dear to me is the young people. My family as well, Chippewa Valley graduates have moved on. But the young people, it's interesting. They do aspire to whatever their careers might be,
Sure.
Whether it's college or whether it's the trades or whatever. And what, if anything, and it's not a job of the board, what, if anything, can we do to maybe excite a little more, communicate a little better with the high schools as to what the great benefits are of staying in the township?
I think what was really key when you start talking about great benefits, right? It goes back to that communication. We have a habit of kind of going through, and we all do it in life. I call it BAU. A number of other people do it as well, business as usual. We have a tendency to do the same things and the same patterns and the same things. We really have to shake it up. And we really have to sit down and say, okay, we've got these great school districts within our township. We have a great township that we want to continue to grow, thrive, and be prosperous. How is it that we sit down and we put together all these different things that we have going on in our township, our parks, our access to Macomb Community College, which is right in our backyard, right? How do we sit down with great businesses? How do we really sit down and really put that in a palette, in a menu, if you would, that is that's appreciative and understood by our youth and by our overall community, that makes that a draw? We have to put together a plan for that, and I think that's one of the things that's just missing. It's not that we can't do it. It's not that we don't have great individuals. It's just that's just one of those innovations that I'm looking to bring, that I know other individuals would like, is to really sit down and say, okay, here's our plan. We have great parks. We have great resources. We have, all these different things. We're working on redevelopment. We have, all these things. How do we sell that and put that together? That's a matter of us strategically really sitting down as a township and really understanding, okay, what's our strategic plan as we move forward? We want to be able to keep our youth. We want to be a destination spot. Our education resources, as far as our school districts, Clintondale, Chippewa, L'Anse Creuse, Fraser schools. We've got some great community school districts here. So how do we really build out of that? We've got to have a strategic plan.
Very good, very good. So I'd like to give you the next 2 hours, obviously, but we only have about 2 minutes, and you can, at this juncture, tell the people of Clinton Township why they should elect Shannon King to join the board.
Thank you. Appreciate that. At the end of the day, a vote for myself is a vote for someone who understands the importance of that everyone needs to matter within Clinton Township. When I've gone out and I've canvassed, there's a number of individuals, no matter where they are, it says, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, they feel like they don't matter for different reasons. They feel like their voice isn't being heard. I understand that this trustee space, and really our government in general here, particularly locally, needs to be representative of the people and really speak through on the challenges and the needs and the resources that you're all looking for, your township to be able to provide. You want that community to be driven. I'm somebody who, at the end of the day, works extremely hard, wants to be able to support, like I mentioned earlier today, this isn't about an accolade on my belt. This is about, or a resume builder. This is truly about me being able to make the community that I'm a part of better. This is about leaving a legacy that I believed, unfortunately, I've seen other people not give, and I want to be able to give that to my community and to my family and to everyone around me. This is a situation where it's time. It's time for fresh perspectives. We need fresh individuals coming in with different ideals who really want to be able to drive and push our township further. We can't continue to keep doing the same things and expecting different results. I think we all know that, but we have to really put this to action with our votes coming up this summer and obviously this fall. So I hope everyone, when they see myself, they see innovation, they see hard work, they see someone who's put themselves and is integrated themselves within this community to make it better, and they see someone who really is looking to put something forward where we're putting our best foot forward as a township by voting for myself.
Well, very good. So, on behalf of the people of Clinton Township, the station here, and myself, first of all, thank you for, in today's environment, wanting to be even more involved. Thank you for what you've done in the past with the township, but in this environment, to stick your neck out and say, hey, we're going to try to keep making things better. We appreciate that. And more importantly, thank you for your time joining us and giving us the opportunity to get to know you a little bit. From myself and everybody here, Shannon King, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
This is Tom Hakeem for Meet the Candidates.